My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. We are continuing our study of the resurrection of 1 Corinthians 15, and we're doing so through the prism of the doctrine of the new creation. Everyone agrees the old creation is destroyed at the time of the resurrection, bringing in the new heaven and the new earth. I've been sharing with you this concept of the destruction of creation through the book of Revelation. That the doctrine of the new creation is not about better rocks, better trees, better bugs, slugs, and mosquitoes, or better birds and bees, as someone suggested. It means that the old heaven and earth is covenantal. It means the new heaven and the new earth is covenantal. And that resurrection is being brought out of death, covenantal death, spiritual death, alienation from God, not biological death. It means, it means so much, and I'm getting sidetracked here, but really, you need to go back and spend some time with yesterday's video as I go from Revelation 6, Revelation 16, Revelation 20 and 21, and demonstrate the destruction of creation, resurrection, new creation, all within the context of the end of the Old Covenant age and the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. Isaiah 65, as I've shared with you, is really the fountain from which the New Testament doctrine of the new creation flows. What else does Isaiah 65 teach that flies in the face of traditional eschatology? Well, one of the very first things that it teaches in describing this new creation, and by the way, I've just got to make this quick observation. My dispensational friends say that Isaiah chapter 65, 20 and following is talking about the millennium. No, it's not. It is talking about the new heaven and the new earth and the new Jerusalem. That's emphatic in verses 17 through 19 of Isaiah 65. So the dispensationalists are completely misapplying Isaiah 65. It's a description of the new heaven and new earth. Well, where does the new heaven and new earth come? At the end of the millennium, not at the beginning of it. All right, verse 20. In this new heaven and this new earth, no more shall an infant from where? New heaven, new earth, new Jerusalem. No more shall an infant from there live but a few days, nor an old man who has not fulfilled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old. But the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. Now, I've got to tell you, this passage presents all sorts of problems for the traditional views. If we take this literally, as we are told we must, then what happens in the new heaven and the new earth after the millennium? Well, you got childbearing. You've got childbearing. And you have sinners in the new heaven and the new earth. You know, some people try to tell us, well, in the new heaven and new earth, there is no such thing as sin, because Revelation says there's no more sin, there's no more sorrow, there's no more tears. By the way, Isaiah 65 said, I'll take your tears away. So we're talking about the same thing. But wait a minute. I have to share with you very quickly a principle of hermeneutic here. In apocalyptic language, we cannot press every single detail, especially in a woodenly literalistic manner. And here's what I mean. Some commentators say, well, in Isaiah 65, there's still death, but in Revelation 21, there's no more death. That must mean they're talking about different things. Or we are told in Revelation 21, there's no more sin. Isaiah 65, there are sinners. Must be different things. Well, I must admit that sounds somewhat logical in our way of thinking. In the Western way of thinking, that it's either this or either that. It cannot be both. That's not the Hebraic way of thinking. As an illustration, in Isaiah chapter 11, in the description of the kingdom, the Messianic kingdom, guess what? The lion would lay down with the calves. There are lions there, but they're tame. Oh, but wait. In Isaiah 35, a description of the kingdom, there will be no lions there. Contradiction? No, not a contradiction. It's just simply apocalyptic language that we as Westerners, again, we think in either or terms. To the Hebraic mind, it was, yes, they're both true. We have to learn to think Hebraically. And so, by the way, when Jesus said, in the age to come, they neither marry or are given in marriage, oh wow, what do we find in Isaiah? Well, evidently we got marrying because we got kids being produced. But do you see the problem? There are two different nuances here that are at work. We either have a contradiction, Isaiah 65, kids being born in the new creation, or Jesus in the age to come, which is the new creation, no marrying. So we've either got kids being produced outside of marriage, boy, what kind of a picture is that? Or maybe Jesus is talking about something different from Isaiah 65, although both are speaking of the new heaven and the new earth. And that is the difference, by the way. The point being here, folks, we have to acclimate ourselves to Hebraic hermeneutic. We cannot be so rigidly literalistic in our view that we start positing false contrast, false contradictions, false either-ors. But when we take the literalistic view of Isaiah 65, number one, it demands children being born in the new heaven and new earth. Well, there's no problem with that. Actually, the problem comes in when we try to impose other texts and say, oh no marrying, and fail to see the nuance that is at work in Jesus' teaching in Luke chapter 20. Now, I know that I haven't expounded on that yet. I know that I haven't explained that yet. I'm going to do that tomorrow. In the meantime, let me recommend that you get a copy of my book, Marrying and Giving in Marriage in the New Creation. You see, folks, the Bible is actually quite clear that in the new heaven and new earth, there would in fact be procreation. Just not like it was under the old creation, for the same reasons of the old creation. This is the most extensive exposition and exegesis of Jesus' statement that in the age to come, that there's neither marrying or giving in marriage that I'm aware of. I draw on scholars who see some of this, but have not yet drawn it all together. Go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com, and order the book. You will be absolutely thrilled with what you see and what you read, what you understand. You will see these apparent contradictions simply disappear in the beauty and the harmony of what the Bible has to say. Marrying and giving in marriage in the new creation. All right, on the flip side, I'm going to share with you how Isaiah 65 could talk about kids in the new creation, and Jesus could say, no marrying in the new creation. We'll see you on the flip side.